Good evening, ma'am. Can you state your name and date of birth, please?
Stephanie Marie Davis, May 15th, 1970.
Do I have an attorney for the state here?
Yes, good afternoon, Your Honor. John Schneider for the Maricopa County Attorney's Office, appearing via Teams.
All right, thank you, sir. I'm going to go through and give her the charges as well as her court dates and my bond inclination, and then I will let you make any statements you'd like to make, okay?
Yes, Judge, thank you.
All right, ma'am, you're here on a new Superior Court case for 1 count of murder in the first degree, a Class 1 felony, and 2 counts of child vulnerable adult abuse, a Class 2 felony. I am going to appoint an attorney to represent you. You'll have a status conference on February 7th at 10:30 and a preliminary hearing on February 9th at 10:30. At this point, ma'am, I'm inclined to impose a cash-only bond for you in the amount of $3,500,000. If you do bond out, you'll be released to pretrial services supervision and fitted with an electronic monitoring device. I'm indicating in my order that you're not to contact the alleged victim in any way, and you're not to have any contact with minors. Counsel for the state, do you have anything?
Thank you, Judge. The state is in agreement with Your Honor's bond. Pursuant to 1339-67, there are multiple factors that weigh in favor of such a bond. The nature and circumstances of the offense are frankly horrific, involving allegations of torture of children over a prolonged period of time, multiple victims, these extremely serious crimes. This defendant poses a danger to the community. She has ties to Minnesota, very little ties to Arizona, have not been residing in our state for longer than approximately 18 months. Defendant Desharnal essentially confessed and gave a pretty detailed outline of the evidence against both defendants. So we ask that Your Honor impose the distinctive $3.5 million cash bond. I'm happy to answer any questions that you may have. Thank you.
All right. Ma'am, do you have any questions for me?
Yes. Okay. Did you already see my husband already today?
No, I have not.
Okay. Him and I did speak earlier, and can we get the same attorney?
I am not.
Because the evidence that the city of Scottsdale has is literally just circumstantial evidence, and those kids were always taken care of.
So, ma'am, you do not have an attorney present to represent you. So I want to remind you that everything you say is being recorded, and as you just heard, there is a member from the county attorney's office online and listening. So be careful of what you say. I'm going to let you speak to me, but I want you to recognize that, okay?
Can we get the same lawyer, or do we have to have?
I'm going to appoint an attorney to represent you. It's going to be up to the trial court. I doubt if you will have the same attorney, but I'm going to let your trial judge make that determination.
And can I talk to my husband?
I don't know if you'll be in any vicinity where you'll be able to speak with your husband, ma'am. I doubt if you will be able to.
Okay. As I said, I spoke to him, and he explained to me that he felt like he was being forced because they literally wouldn't give up on him. And they were making him say things that he didn't want to. That's why I'm asking.
Okay, so I did appoint an attorney to represent you. So when you speak with your attorney, you make sure you talk to your attorney about the concerns that you have. All right?
Yeah.
And I will be sure to tell your husband the same thing.
That was grandmother Stephanie Davis, 52 years old, speaking in her first court appearance in 2022. She stood before the judge and she claimed that her grandkids, aged 11 and 9, who lived with her, were well taken care of, and that all the evidence against her was just circumstantial. Now let's delve into this case, and you tell me if you agree with her statements at the end of this video. This is the very disturbing case of Chaskah Davis Smith. Stephanie Davis lived with her husband Thomas Desharnal, 33 years old, in Scottsdale, Arizona, in an extended stay American hotel, where they had resided for several years. Also living with them was Stephanie's 11-year-old and 9-year-old grandsons, who had lived with them since 2015. On the 31st of January 2022, at 5 p.m, a 911 call was put through to the Scottsdale Police Department advising them that there was a child unresponsive at the hotel. When first responders arrived on scene, they entered the hotel room where they saw a woman, Stephanie Davis, performing CPR on a boy who was laid on the floor between the bathroom and the hallway. Now, they promptly took over the life-saving measures on the young child while trying to gather crucial information as to what the hell had happened. Now, Davis told them that the boy had been hurting himself all day and that she found him in a bathtub of water with his head above the waterline. Now, as the first responders began to assess the situation and the surroundings, as they're trained to do, they noticed that the boy they were performing CPR on had several severe head wounds. He also had cuts and bruises and abrasions all over his face. Now, the paramedics suctioned half a litre of water from this child's body. They also noted a younger child who was stood around watching everything that was going on, and he also had injuries to his face and bruising around his eyes. The first responders crucially noted that injuries to both boys were at various stages of healing, indicating possible prolonged abuse. And also present in the room, in the hotel room, was 33-year-old Thomas Desharnal, who was married to Stephanie. Now, the little boy who was unresponsive on the floor was 11-year-old Chaskah Davis Smith. He was transported to hospital, but sadly pronounced deceased on arrival. Now, Davis, who also went by the surname Fast Horse, and Desharnal were taken into custody. Now, Desharnal started singing like a canary about Davis. He said that she was abusive both physically and mentally to both her grandchildren, and that leading up to the Chaskah's death, she was even more cruel than usual. Wow. And the abuse had intensified. So he told the police that, she used to starve them for days. Sometimes he said that he would sneak them food. She belittled them and called them derogatory names, telling them that they were worthless dogs. She would beat them with a wooden broomstick. She would, pinch them, like nose pliers. Pinch them with these nose pliers and bend their fingers back. What a sadistic bitch. After a severe beating, she would then make them sleep in the bathtub so they wouldn't get blood everywhere. The night before the incident, Desharnal said that Davis had beat Chaskah in the head 4 to 5 times with a metal ratchet. And, brace yourself for this, she had cut Chaskah's genitals along the shaft with a paring knife, or paring knife, depending on where you're from, where you have to pronounce it, allegedly because he'd peed his pants. Now, Davis had continued to abuse the boy throughout the next day. Although Desharnal said that he'd been in and out the apartment all day running errands, he did acknowledge that the abuse was going on, and he said that, he should have stopped. He should have stepped in and done something to stop it. He should have. About 5 years ago, because authorities estimated that's how long this abuse had been going on for. So while the two were down at the police station giving interviews, the police obtained a warrant and searched the hotel room, and a lot of what they discovered matched what Desharnal's had been telling them. They found the socket wrench hidden under a mattress. Nose pliers were on top of the fridge. They found the wooden broomstick handle with evidence of blood on it still. There was blood evidence in the bathroom, up the walls and even on the ceilings, and there was human hair in a trash bag. And there was a dog shock collar. They didn't even have a dog, FFS. Now, Davis was claiming both Chaskah and his younger brother hurt themselves. She blamed it on mental health. She said, they hurt themselves. They said blamed her very intentional actions on small children and mental health just to try and save her own skin. It's pretty disgusting. Now, she claimed, listen to this story, I don't even know how she had the gall to even tell this to police. She claimed that Chaskah had hit himself in the head with the wrench while the family was all sitting round watching a movie. She said he then went to the bathroom and cut his own genitals with a paring knife. She said she took the wrench from him and hid it under a mattress so he couldn't get it, and took the bloody knife to the kitchen, give it a wash. She then said Chaskah said he wanted to go and take a bath. So, loving grandmother, she was trying to portray herself as. She said she ran a bath for him and she left him in the bathroom. She said she was only gone for 60 seconds and then she went back to the bathroom to check on him, and she said he was on his side in the tub, but his face was above the waterline. Pulled him out the bath, emptied the bath. So, it's not for everybody. I know it's not for everybody, but I like to give them a voice on my channel. In many of these child cases that I removed from the home and taken into trying to protect his identity. They'd lived with Davis, her husband, and the kids were they were at that time enrolled in school. It was the school that raised some concerns about the children with DCS in regards to suspected abuse, because, the kids were coming in with scratches and bruises and whatnot, and obviously it's safeguarding and they've got a duty to report these things, and they did on 3 separate occasions. So the first report was on March the 22nd, 2017. It was alleging physical abuse. And it was to Chaskah by Stephanie. The DCS went out, which was surprising they even went out. They said the allegation was unsubstantiated and the family was not even provided with any services. The DCS, they provided the family with some resources, probably a bit of paper with some stuff on it. Then that case was promptly closed in July. Now, in August, another report, same year, another report came in. Physical abuse, again, this time it was reported to be by Thomas himself, Desharnal. That allegation, you guessed it, was unsubstantiated. The family was not provided any services and the case was closed in September. From Minnesota to the Scottsdale hotel where this incident happened. DCS said they tried to transfer all the information across to the Arizona authorities, but this appeared to have not surfaced. Got lost. Once in Scottsdale, obviously, a hotel employee also reported concerns to the DCS once they were in Arizona at this long stay hotel. Twice after seeing the children battered and bruised. The DCS didn't even bother to come out, these two reports. They didn't even bother to come out and investigate. Now, Davis's brother gave a media interview and he said that Davis, she's a chronic liar, she's a chaotic mess was the way she described her, and that the family have little to do. He also said that Davis's own children were taken away from her when she was in her 20s. Now, the biological father of Chaskah is recorded as unknown. The biological father of the younger boy, the younger brother, is in state prison for child molestation. Nice one. So where's the biological mother at? Well, I found out her name is Thomas Smith. Now, from what I can gather, she was implicated in the homicide of Davis's son, and Desharnal said to the police that he thinks that she was so cruel and abusive towards the children because she was taken out on them. How the hell did Davis end up having custody of these boys? Well, again, according to Amandria, who surfaced when this story broke, Davis never had legal custody of the boys. She's blaming DCS for not acting on tips, and you guessed it, she's now suing DCS for a whopping $12 million. I'm sorry, love, but where the hell have you been? It's like, almost like it's 7 years and you've been nowhere. And now you crawl out the woodwork and you think, I know, I'll sue DCS for $12 million. What are you going to do with your $12 million? Bring your son back? No, should have been there. You should have been there. If you're that concerned about how they was mistreated and abused and blaming DCS, you should have been there, love. Sorry, quick rant. So Stephanie Davis is currently being held on bond for a whopping $3.5 million in cash, and Desharnal is currently being held on bond for a $1.5 million cash. So the current charges are first degree murder, 9 counts of child abuse, 1 count of tampering with evidence. But I've got a feeling these charges will increase and change over time, so I will keep you updated on this one. I'll keep an eye out for any developments and I'll update you accordingly. But for now, my thoughts and prayers are for Chaskah and his brother. I hope now Chaskah is free from all the pain and torture that he endured on this earth. Sorry, got a bit teary then. So just before I say goodbye to you lovely people, take a moment to consider subscribing and liking. Subscribing means everything, so that I can continue to do this. I do enjoy making these videos. Take a minute if you want to consider becoming a patron. I've got some patron benefits if you'd like to do that. My Patreon page is up on the channel, and also I do a bit of merch. The merch I do is to raise awareness for mental illness and personality disorders. Take care of yourselves, take care of each other, and I'll see you soon. Toodaloo.